Speaking of Batman, there was another reveal. And that was the logo for Keaton's Batman, which is this one right here.
Oh, yeah.
Andy Muschietti dropped this image, and this kind of looks like the Batman from Batman Returns logo. And here's that right there, so you can kind of see the difference.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it was the last one, right? It was there was never a sequel to Batman Returns, so this would be the launching point off of that. So it would make perfect sense.
Well, they had developed a costume and they sculpted it and all that for the third one, but it got
that one. Oh wait, that's not it.
Yeah, but it got revamped and repurposed. And yes, there it is. That's the one. Golly, that back really raised.
I love the Watchmen reference. I think it's brilliant.
Yeah,
I think it's a nice nod to Watchmen.
Mm-hmm.
And I love how it's backwards. Like everything is flipped, right? So if you look at it rhetorically, like everything is flipped. So the blood would actually come from the top left down, but it's coming from the bottom left up. So it looks like it's kind of splattering at that projection going that way. So it's pretty cool. It's like everything's flipped up, like a different.
I didn't think it was blood. It looks more like jelly.
It probably
Somebody
is.
was eating right over
Jelly.
it.
Keaton was eating a fucking jelly donut before.
He's like, wait, don't move. Don't move. Get the photographers over here.
It looks like
Is that-
Oh, is that your interpretation of Muschietti?
That's my Italian accent.
He's like, yo, meet the pose and shit.
My name is Andy Muschietti.
Muschietti.
Buongiorno.
But you can
Why do
see
you guys think he's fucking Italian or
Would you
something?
like a cannoli?
but it does have the Batman Returns feel to it. And yeah, this would be the next iteration after Batman Returns from Keaton's Batman. So that would make total sense for the most part.
Makes perfect sense.
But do you think the blood on there has anything to do with the story, or do you think it's just a nod to Watchmen?
We're gonna have to find out.
I don't know. I still am not jazzed about him being in the movie, but I just don't think it's necessary.
You're not jazzed?
No.
Yeah.
Like, why? I don't understand the purpose. Like, I feel like there should be, well, I guess we won't know till, I'm still excited for the movie. Like, I know it's, I know the momentum for the movie, like a lot of people have lost excitement for this movie because it's like one step forward, two steps back constantly.
Right.
But I still, like, to me, the positives are that if Ben Affleck agreed to do it and Ray Fisher still was like on the same page with Andy Muschietti about Cyborg being in it, those are positive signs to me, that they wanted to, that Ben Affleck's going to do it and Ray Fisher would if, the whole Hamada thing was worked out. Those are positive signs to me for this movie. But like the thing about Michael Keaton being in it, I like him. And of course we'll always like him as Batman from, the 80s, but late 80s, whatever.
What?
90s.
No,
Okay, yeah, this one, not the first one.
Yeah, I'm pretty jazzed. I don't really listen to jazz.
The first one wasn't in the 90s, though.
It was 89.
89.
Yeah, that's what I said, late 80s. Okay.
But
I just don't think it's, I don't know, I guess we'll have to see for the story. I don't feel like it's necessary. Like, to me, if it's only for nostalgic purposes and just to like, hey, guess what? Michael Keaton, after all these years, is going to be back as Batman in the movie. I don't know. I feel like if it has like a cool, important connection to the story somehow, then it'll be fine. But if it's only for like nostalgic purposes, then
But here's the thing, and this is the part that gets me a little concerned about the Flash movie, is that with all the changes that has been made to this film, we're talking about taking Cyborg out of the movie now, perhaps maybe adding him back in, probably, who knows? And now you have Keaton's Batman, now you have Ben Affleck's Batman. Oh, but he's only going to be a cameo. Oh, no, actually, it's going to be a bigger role. So the fact that you have all these changes going on, it leads me to believe that they're probably going to be using multiple scripts, or that if not, there's going to be multiple scripts, or there is multiple scripts for this movie. And so when I think of multiple scripts for a superhero genre movie, I think of X-Men: The Last Stand. Well, they essentially took a bunch of scripts, put them all together, and made a movie. And that movie sucked. And so I'm afraid that this film might suffer from the same suckiness that X-Men: The Last Stand suffered from. Because kind of like what Rasha was saying a second ago, is that I don't understand what the Flash is supposed to be anymore.
That's
because
another thing.
it's so diluted. You're just like, wait, so
Well, I mean, they're trying to like hype up all this other shit. Like, where the fuck is a picture of the Flash?
yeah.
You know, I mean, I'm sorry, you know, you got the stupid CW, you know, little, you know, intro or whatever that they did a couple weeks ago.
Well, that was
But I
bad.
mean, we've never seen Ezra. We don't see a physical representation of what the new costume looks like, how it translates, you know, physically.
Mhm.
So I mean, really, it's like I said, they're banking on nostalgia. Like, guys, Keaton's in this.
See, I
Everybody
don't
loves
like that.
Keaton's, you know,
That-
Batman.
yeah.
But that's
like,
what
no-
Warner Bros. Has done the entire time. They're always about trying to capture that nostalgia as opposed to moving forward. And
Yep.
so, you know, here Broham says it should have been Flash and Cyborg. Because, I mean, I highly doubt that Cyborg had a small role in this movie.
Mhm.
You know, from the feeling I get is that he had a much bigger role in this movie. But now
Yeah.
we don't even know he's actually going to be in the movie. I mean, Matt, is he going to be in this movie? Is there a chance that we're going to see?
Is there a Batman in the film, Matt?
We have like what 2 Batmans in this movie already?
Apparently.
Yeah.
You know, I'm excited for the movie. I'm on board with Allie and what she's saying about it is because, but the thing that is struggling for a lot of people is all the goddamn rumors that are coming out that
Yes.
Keaton is going to replace Affleck, which makes no sense.
That I
Affleck
don't
is
buy.
Affleck is going to disappear and die, and then there'll be a new Batman that'll start, and Robert Pattinson will fly in, and he'll be the new Batman because all the worlds are connected now. It's like, no, this movie is utilizing. Okay, so I always go back to this concept. If this movie was what Warner Brothers wanted, they could have released it right after Justice League. They could have got it in production, but they didn't.
But
They waited. There was nothing that came out. Birds of Prey came out. I think Shazam came out next, or Aquaman, and that was it. And then we got Zack Snyder's Justice League because we had Wonder Woman 84 sitting on the sidelines for a year. Like that movie was done a year before its release, or a year and a half before its release. So why are we waiting until Zack Snyder's Justice League to come out to finally now drop this movie that people have been waiting so long for? And then you're going to say that you're going to take out one of the most crucial characters of the movie, which is Cyborg. Like, it's not a sideline character. It's a real crucial part of the movie. You even hinted to it on a CW crossover. Like that.
Yeah.
So what they're going to do is they're going to have somebody in silhouette representing Cyborg.
With a red eye.
Yeah.
So,
With a red eye and a check.
Yeah, with a red eye.
Over the shoulder shot.
Yeah, over the shoulder shot.
He'd be like, Victor, can you grab me that cup of coffee? He won't say anything. He'll just
and
move.
his whole body's CG.
Like, oh,
so putting his hands in and doing all that or whatever, you know. So everything except for his face is going to be seen. Kind of like what they did with Henry Cavill and in Shazam at the end.
Oh,
You know, they just cut off his head. It's like, I'm Cyborg from the neck down, baby.
that would be worse.
Well, because
he's gonna be like, what do you need? Booyah, booyah, booyah. You know,
yeah, booyah, booyah, booyah,
booyah, booyah, booyah.
That would be worse because having
booyah everywhere.
Booyah.
I would have rather not even have this Superman cameo. Yeah. Because it wasn't Henry Cavill. It's like I would have rather him just not even been there at all.
Exactly. At that point, just say, you know what, this is not going to work out.
Yeah, since David F. Sandberg said he was supposed to do the cameo.
Yeah.
But since it didn't work out, they should have just been like, forget it.
Yeah, let's move on.
No,
I know
which I don't blame him. I don't blame him for not doing it. But like, if he agreed not to, if he was like not on board with it, then they should have just cut that out.
And also, what you had with that was, and I don't know because I'm not in the business or a filmmaker, but you do have a relatively young filmmaker. Like he's got movies under his belt, but not that a movie of that magnitude. So if one of us is just like, if they're like, Henry decided not to do it, we're still gonna need you.
Use his double. Yeah.
We still gonna need you to do that though. He's probably like, no, well, there's no point because Henry couldn't do it or whatever. They're probably like, do it now. And
just put him in there. We don't
just
need
do
his
it
face.
and then put the camera here so he's sitting down and then
because that's
it won't be obvious that it's not Henry Cavill.
I feel bad for that stunt worker that was like, I'm finally gonna be fucking Nope.
Yeah,
I guess not.
Mom, you're finally gonna see your son on screen.
When they found when they found out who that was that did that, he got straight clowned.
Yeah.
on social media. They hit him hard, man.
She's like,
That's
"Oh,
not
you have
cool, though."
nice pecs."
They hit him
It's
It's
hard.
not,
He's
no,
doing
it's
his
not.
job.
But I'm just saying, like
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
what they
Yeah,
found out
that's
what it
not-
was. Yeah.
It
That's
wasn't
not
his
cool.
idea.
Well-
He's like, "Hey, I have an idea, you guys. Put
Well,
me in the suit and just cut my head off."
It's important though to have Cyborg though, because if we did that
Yes.
to Cyborg, is you have to understand the only way for Flash to get into the Speed Force at that magnitude to break into a multiverse is to use a cosmic treadmill. You just cannot do it any other way. And if you did, you're just breaking the lore. Then you'd have to explain those elements. And the person that puts it together, which was being led up to, was Cyborg's ingenuity and his expertise with technology and Bruce Wayne's logic, like to pay for those pieces and to put that together and to have the resource to do it. And it makes perfect sense. But now to know that this isn't like that story is still like sitting around. From what I understand, there is a shooting script and they're working off of that shooting script. And whatever they're doing with that shooting script, they're shooting Michael Keaton first and getting Michael Keaton in and out because he said that he has a schedule to stick to. He doesn't have time. So now it's telling me if that's the case, he's not going to have a significant role in this film as long as it's probably going to be key moments where he's needing to come in. And it's probably going to be at the end of the movie. It's not going to be something that's playing throughout.
And that makes sense too. I mean, if you're already showing this, that means that you're likely filming his scenes now.
Yeah.
Yep.
But you're getting them out of the way. And this is still the beginning of production. This is not
That's what I'm saying. Like, so what if this story changes so much to where they're like, okay, so what do we do with that Keaton scene? Like, let's just kind of slip it in here because we've changed everything now. Because you're filming it so early on. But I mean,
that's another thing with like Cyborg is like I obviously don't know because but from everything that I gather from things that I've heard, the movie almost could have been called Cyborg and the Flash. Like that's how big Cyborg's part was in the movie. Was that like it was really significant to the point where it could have been like both of their names could have been in the title. Obviously it wouldn't have, but yeah. So to take away 47% of the movie. And let's fill it with some other stuff. Yeah,
I mean, they were supposed to. So the beginning, from my understanding, and the things that like, and bear in mind, you know, this is probably not relevant anymore. But from my understanding, is that this movie is a direct representation from Zack Snyder's Justice League directly into the Flash. That they were supposed to be on this starting mission where the Justice League are doing something. And the Flash is kind of the focus of this mission, and Batman's doing his thing, Cyborg's doing his thing, Wonder Woman, Aquaman. They're showing you a world where Justice League is working together, and the Flash is still trying to figure out his powers and trying to figure out what's going on. He kind of messes up and shoots him somewhere else. Those type of things where he doesn't know quite how to control this because we saw what he did in Zack Snyder's Justice League, so we know what he's capable of. However, how far can he go to where he can push the limits of time? How far can he go to push those limits? Because we never got a sense of what Flash thought about after that moment. Did he remember what he did? Did he understand what he did? Did he understand the consequences of going back in time and restarting and giving them another option? Like, did we see that? No, we don't. So we're going to have to explore that in the Flash to understand how far he's going to go. And I think truly, because we don't know who a villain is, everyone keeps asking about a villain. People want to know more about these characters. I mean, the villain in itself can be the Flash. Like, he's a villain to himself. So, you know, he can create a reverse Flash, or he can fight with the Speed Force or, you know, the multiverse and understand that he fucked up somehow. But this movie was supposed to start with a Justice League-esque, you know, characters doing a mission that lead to him, like kind of in a Flashpoint-esque way, showing you another alternate way, another alternate version, which would bring in Keaton, which would be cool, or would it bring in different characters and to explore. You could see fucking Ryan Reynolds finally. You know what I mean? Like,
Ryan Reynolds makes sense in this film.
Yeah.
I wondered that too about when he does his time thing in his time reverse in Justice League. I wondered, does everyone know what happened, or do they just think that he went and touched Cyborg when he was supposed to?
Yeah.
Or do they know that, you know, they failed, but Flash fixed it.
Who knows? Who knows if he even told them?
That's what I'm saying. I wonder if
Yeah.
they know.
Yeah.
Does he even know that he did it?
Well, he knows what
Well,
he
he knows do because he had to break that one rule, right?
He's like, you have to break the rule, Barry. Like, he knows what happens when he goes that fast.
The rule, right? In time, you wouldn't know your relevance of time if you're going through time. So you're going back to the moment time existed in that essence. Would you still know what you did? And that's, to me, what I want to see explored in The Flash, that I hope they actually explain it. And how he can, because when he was talking to himself in the future and in the past, right? So he's talking to himself at two different moments of time, right? And he's having that conversation with himself. So how does he know which version of him is actually doing this and which version of him is actually taking place?
Well, and also it says too in the storyboards that the arc was supposed to be that he would learn how to be in two places at the same time.
That's
so
true.
It's like he was going to really expand this out. And, you know, I think that this scene, if we do get it, which I should say we are going to get it. For all we know, this could be a cameo at the end of the movie where he pops in there and he's like, hey, what's up? He looks down like, what? But what I'm saying is that he might just show him at the very end, just to show that.
What's he gonna say when he sees the blood? Like, you got too much cocaine there, man? What's
but they just as easily could make this as a cameo at the end of the movie to establish that Keaton's universe still exists.
Yeah.
And that's it. And you're gonna be like, oh, okay, that's what that was all about. All right.
I'm not gonna. Yeah, I don't think he's gonna have a major role in the movie. Like, I think the WB wants to really oversell that he's in the movie to get people excited about it. Like, I would have much rather had,
Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Yes, thank you.
Oh yeah,
Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Oh God, yes.
That would have been way more exciting for me than to have Michael Keaton's Batman.
But see,
since they're not doing that, I feel like they're just trying to be like, oh well, here we'll just put Michael Keaton's Batman and people will be excited. No.
But see, that's my other point too, is that not only do you have Keaton's Batman, but now you have Sasha Calle's Supergirl. So where does she fit into this fold?
She's a different she is Superman's daughter in the future.
She has the short, dark hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She is not that Supergirl, the one we were thinking of.
So she's going to be the daughter of...
In the future, in a different world. So
it's almost like she doesn't have to exist in... Yeah, I see...
But you could still carry, like, to me,
you can still carry on with it.
You can carry on if she does a great job. Like, if she knocks it out of the ballpark, people.
So do you think? Yeah, I mean, do you think that'd be interesting because the whole Zack Snyder thing in the in those the Justice League 2 and 3 sort of what's that?
The pods.
Yeah. Do you
pods.
think that instead of it being Lois and Cal's son, it would be Lois and Cal's daughter, and like maybe
the baby because she's
like
pregnant.
Sasha Calle. Yippee Kaye.
Oh, here we go. There we go. Discovery Baby. There it is.
There you go. Discovery Baby. Done.
But this does open up a lot of opportunities for other characters to be introduced, and you can explore those worlds without having an interconnected universe like Marvel, where, like I've always said, the tissue between Marvel and DC is Marvel goes inwards and DC goes outwards. And outwards, you have more expansion. Inwards, you're kind of subjective with what you do, and you have to objectively connect everything. But here, it's like they are being set up to do something great, and if they do it and they knock it out of the park, they can do whatever they want. Right. I mean, plus you still have Batfleck, and Batfleck is still, he's still Batman. He's not like, hey, let me fucking come back, bro, and fucking kill me. I got J-Lo waiting in the back, man. Fuck me up, Phantom's like a motherfucker. Like, he's not doing that. Like, right. Like, he's coming back to play Batman. He's going to do it again. Right. He is Batman in this world. Right. Hey, yo, J-Lo back. What it do?
What it do? Why does it sound like that? Hey, Yogi. How's it going?
Hey, Yogi. Where's my J-Lo?
Basket.
Better back that shit up.
Ben Affleck's a cool fucking dude. Like, that's the guy that you want to show up as Batman every day because he has great ideas. And you know what? We've been told that. I mean, I talked to Zach about it. And everybody always asks me, Zach's talking in the past tense, in the past tense. However, that's not how I phrased the question. I phrased the question in the present tense. He responded in the present tense. He responded knowing that this is something that they were working on in production, and this is something that Ben still wants to do. It's not something that Ben walked away from because, alcohol was my addiction. And it's like, yeah, we all have addictions. Ben was very open about his, but at the same time, that's not what threw him out of the project. You know, it was very clear what threw him out of the project was Warner Brothers. And that's evident now that Warner Brothers was a toxic stain within the production and creativity of creators that they need to be held accountable for the things that they were doing at that time. And I'm glad for someone like Ray Fisher, who's stepping up to the plate with Zack Snyder's Justice League and what happened on set, and holding Joss Whedon accountable. But we still need to hold Jeff Johns and, you know,
I mean, with all the shakeups, though, with all the shakeups of like, okay, you've got AT&T coming in and you know, doing some shit and are rearranging things. Then you got the whole Discovery thing, merger, you know, buyout, whatever it is. And that's, you know, going to change it. Is that going to muddy the water so much that it's like these guys can't be held accountable because they're no longer in the picture. They're going to be phased out. So therefore, you know, either they don't work for the company, they've been moved to Siberia, whatever it is, you know, is it, you know, that, you know, like, I'm so sorry, Ray, you know, I know you're after these guys here that did this wrong. Is that going to be, you know, enough for people to say, hey, we're going to continue to, you know, to keep this in the forefront, you know, because I mean, it seems like this stuff gets lost in Twitterverse until finally Ray comes out and reminds everyone again, hey, this is still something.
Right.
Because it is still something. I think you got good points. I think the shakeup between what's funny about the shakeup, and I want people to really think about this really hard, is this shakeup was coming for a while. It's been coming since last year. The shakeup was going to come eventually. Things were happening, and the person that knew the most was the most sleaziest person in the room, which was Toby Emmerich, because he knew that he was looking for another job last year because he knew he was going to get let go. He was going to get let go, so he was poaching himself out there for another position. And he was denied by Netflix, right? They didn't want him. From my understanding, is it was more than just Netflix. There was a lot of people that didn't want him. So at this point,
he was like, I got a great idea for Jupiter's Ascending 2. I got Jupiter's Ascending 2, man.
We call it Jupiter's Legacy. Like, no, we already did that. What?
We could combine the universe.
But that's where she got her powers from. No.
Oh, I'm sorry. So you have this understanding that this shakeup was going to happen eventually, that when they sold those shares and sold off that 29.9%, right, to Discovery, and Discovery's coming in to replace Warner Brothers. They're coming in not to replace Warner Media or anything. They're coming in to build a new business. It's a new company, right? So the old company gets liquidated out. So anybody that's part of that in an executive position is one, you're carried on over for the team, or guess what? You cut your losses short. We don't need you anymore. Thank you for your service. Here's a severance package, blah, blah, blah. So when you're coming in, you're taking part of that new company. Now, part of that new company is going to step on over to Warner Brothers side and start to replace executives along the way, because you're no longer needed. You're no longer necessary. You've outplayed your welcome, or we don't have viable option for you anymore. We'll play out your contract and move on. That's why everything is still playing out for the rest of the year. I mean, Jason Kilar is very upset that, you know, the response between HBO Max and same day release in theaters, that's still bugging them. And that decision to do that was Toby Emmerich's, and I believe COO's decision. I think her name's Blackwood. Them two were making that decision together, and it was noted in, I believe, the Forbes or one of those articles. I think it was Deadline, one of them. I would have to go look it up, the source, but it was a credible source that actually credited that Jason Kilar said that. Just plain out, like, we should have waited an extra day to see that the vaccines were coming out, because right now theaters are being filled in my area, and it's June, right? By time August hits, like Dune, when it comes out and it's going to be on HBO Max, like, that movie is going to hit big, and if it doesn't make that return, like, they're going to look embarrassing. Like, they're already going to look embarrassing now with a lot of these movies. Like Conjuring is already on HBO Max, and that should be making a lot of money.
Yeah.
And it's not. And it's like, they're trying to boast these small numbers to big production value numbers by saying, hey, we're doing amazing, we're doing great, yeah, Toby Emmerich's like, he's trying to boast this accomplishment to make himself look good, but at the end of the day, nothing is happening. Like, you're still going to be liquidated, my guy. Like, just try to find a job at fucking Crackle at this point, because by the end of the day, like, they were going to let you go in December. Your contract's almost up. So fucking, I think Tubi or one of those Pornhub's hiring, go over there. Like,
Tubi.
Tubi.